Meteorologist David Yeomans, as you know, has been in the path of the storm. David, you're only hours away from landfall now. South of you, landfall. Set the scene for us.
Yeah, Jim, and that's exactly right what you said about the dangerous storm surge already arriving. We're here on Sabine Lake, which is just inland from the actual Gulf of Mexico. This is really the safest we're comfortable, or the closest rather, we can comfortably get to the Gulf of Mexico while still avoiding being cut off from the outside world and having no way to escape later on this evening. Even though this is just a big lake and not even the ocean, look at this. We've got rolling waves starting to crash up on this little seawall. Even the level of the lake, you know, the tide's supposed to be going out right now at this point. The level of the lake itself is 3 feet higher than it should be. Normally on the opposite side of that seawall, there's a 3 or 4 foot drop down to Sabine Lake. We've seen some winds gusting up here, maybe 20, 25 miles per hour. You can see the trees here moving just a bit in the wind. We actually have not seen many of the rain bands moving through yet. Most of those still offshore in the direction of the storm. But Jim, as you said, less than 150 miles away from us is the most powerful storm to ever strike this section of the Gulf Coast, extreme eastern Texas, from the Bolivar Peninsula out toward Cameron and Holly Beach, Louisiana. They've never, in modern record since 1850, been hit by a Category 4 or 5. You know, I've been talking to several residents and police officers. Sounds like about 50-50 on who left here versus who is staying in Port Arthur, the next town over. But everybody here, and in every hurricane that I've covered, they always reference the last hurricane to hit that area. Oh, well, I've been through Rita and I was fine. I've been through Carla and I was fine. We spoke with a gentleman who's lived here his whole life. He's 65 years old, and he rattled off all the storms he's been through and saying, that's why I'm not scared of this one, and that's why I'm not going to leave. We really tried to get through to him that this is not going to be like anything that the Gulf Coast, in this area at least, has seen before.
David, I posted on the weather blog how this storm is tracking almost identically the path of Rita back in '05 that you just referenced. This storm is going to be worse than Rita. Rita had a storm surge that where you are would be well over your head, and you've got an idea about how much land could be underwater as we head into the night, right?
And it keeps getting scarier and scarier for these folks, Jim, because check out this map. Basically, the National Hurricane Center was saying the water could go 30 miles inland. Now the forecast has up to 40 miles inland. So basically, if you draw a circle or a triangle here from Port Arthur up toward Orange and Vinton and all the way up toward Lake Charles and down the road toward Hackberry, Louisiana, the Gulf of Mexico is going to overtake that entire chunk of land 30 to 40 miles inland from where the coast normally is. So we're going to stay on top of all these impacts throughout the night. We're going to be here for the next couple of hours as long as it's safe to do so. As soon as the water starts rising, though, we do have a safe route back inland where we will be covering the rest of the eye of the storm for you later on tonight. In the meantime, I'm meteorologist David Yeomans live on Sabine Lake. We want to get over to Kristen Curry to talk about another dangerous aspect of this, the Category 4 winds.
As a tropical system, in this case Hurricane Laura, approaches land, the winds within the storm give a 1-2 punch. As the hurricane begins to move on shore, some of the inner rain bands can produce hurricane-force wind gusts of over 75 miles per hour. But once the eye wall moves over land, that's when the strongest winds are typically recorded, particularly in the front right quadrant of the storm, as the winds within the hurricane combine with the forward speed of the storm. These winds are what determine the rank of the storm. And given Laura's winds of over 140 miles per hour, eye wall winds are expected to be within Category 4 strength once making landfall near the Texas-Louisiana coast tonight. Certainly strong enough to damage or destroy structures. But then the eye passes and winds significantly drop with relatively calm and clear conditions within the eye. But that's only the first half of the storm. Winds on the backside are similar, only in reverse, with the strongest winds first as the backside of the eye wall passes, then the inner bands and the outer bands, winds typically starting to relax as the storm moves away. But it's important to note that hurricane-force winds can extend to over 50 miles from the center of a large hurricane like Laura, with tropical storm-force winds extending over 175 miles out.